Pro Football Talk on NBC at 5:30 every day, Monday through Friday. Mike joining us. What started slow but turned into kind of a feeding frenzy there for free agency. You want to weigh in on the poll question, I'm told, Mike. Whose career would you rather have moving forward? Aaron Paul, who was in Breaking Bad, Chris Paul, or the Republican presidential candidate, possible Republican presidential candidate, Rand Paul?
Of those three, I got to go with Aaron Paul because he's got the Breaking Bad role on his resume, one of the great programs in TV history. But I got to go off the board because Les Paul's name will be permanently attached to the greatest guitar made forever.
Well done.
As long as they're making guitars, Les Paul is going to be around.
That's a walk-off, Mike, but I need some questions answered here, so I can't let you walk off.
Okay.
All right. McLovin, put Les Paul.
But he's passed away.
Well, but moving forward, you can still be Les Paul. Les Paul is still Les Paul, even though he's dead. Right?
I hadn't thought that through, though. I guess I would prefer to be alive.
You know what? We'll ignore that. Though.
But all time, looking back, Les Paul is going to be the name that resonates far beyond any of the others.
Well, would you mind being dead, but your name is still living on like that, Mike?
Get back to me after I'm dead.
How about this? Would you rather be RuPaul
no.
or Les Paul?
Les Paul.
I got to go RuPaul. I do. I got to go.
There is something to be said for still being alive,
yes.
though. I've got to factor that into the equation.
All right, let's dive into this. What was the biggest surprise yesterday in free agency?
Had to be Aqib Talib.
Yeah,
Had to be Aqib Talib. And, this isn't about Broncos versus Patriots, Dan. This is about trying to close the 35-point gap with the Seahawks. The only way the Broncos could. They got to beef up the secondary. They saw what the Seahawks have with Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas. So they go out and sign T.J. Ward, and they go out and sign Aqib Talib. Because Aqib Talib is one of the best options available to try to make that defensive backfield better. So if and when they get back to the Super Bowl, they avoid another nightmare. I mean, this isn't a dream team. People are saying, hey, all they need is Vince Young, and they'll be the dream team. This is about avoiding another nightmare in February. If they get back, and they'll be the favorites to get back, and the Seahawks will be the favorites to get back, and they don't want 60 more minutes like they had at MetLife Stadium.
What about Marcus Ware in Denver, Jared Allen in Denver?
Well, Jared Allen should have gotten a deal done with the Broncos during that period of time when they were allowed to talk but not do deals. Plenty of deals were done, wink, nod, because once DeMarcus Ware was cut, that was it for Jared Allen in Denver. They started to lock on to DeMarcus Ware. There's over 12 teams interested in Ware. The only team he's visiting for now is Denver. They're going to get every opportunity to get him signed, and what a boost that'll be, because that's the other thing the Seahawks had that other teams didn't, that rotation of pass rushers where they're always fresh because there's so many, and they all can get to the quarterback, and you suffocate the other team's quarterback, and next thing you know, it's 43-8.
Darrelle Revis. I keep thinking this before Aqib Talib left, that he was going to end up with the Patriots. What do you think?
Well, I think the Patriots make a lot of sense. I'm amazed that the Buccaneers waited so long to make it clear they were trying to move him. I don't know why teams wait until the day before free agency starts to start shopping veteran players. Get the word out. I mean, the teams that may be interested already have other plans in place, and then all of a sudden Chris Johnson's available, Darrelle Revis is available, Julius Peppers is available. They need to get the wheels in motion sooner. So I think what's going to happen is he will be cut. I don't think anybody's going to trade for him because he's not going to reduce his salary, total compensation of $16 million this year, and the Patriots, I think, are going to have an opportunity to sign him on the open market. The question becomes, how much is he going to want financially to do a deal with the Patriots? Would he take maybe a little less than the Patriots would offer to go back to the AFC East, to go play with Bill Belichick? There's a mutual respect there between Revis and Belichick. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, especially now with Talib gone.
What do you expect to happen today?
Well, I do expect Revis is going to be cut. I mean, the only way he doesn't get cut is if a team like the Browns, which realizes they have no chance of luring Darrelle Revis if he's on the open market, decides to say, fine, we'll pay him $16 million, we'll take his contract, we'll bring him to Cleveland as they continue to try to turn the page on this lingering controversy and dysfunction they've had there, and they've gone out and probably spent more money than they should, but they're looking for some positive headlines in Cleveland.
Yeah, I wasn't big on Dansby signing at his age, and Cleveland's adding more defense here. I thought the defense was pretty good. You got a defensive, head coach here. They need help on offense. So
some would say, why do you give $24 million over 4 years to Dansby when you had DeQuell Jackson. And DeQuell Jackson's younger than Dansby. Now, they came to the conclusion Jackson can't run anymore. Presumably they think Dansby can, but just kind of an odd move to do that. And yeah, I mean, they've got cap space to spend, and it wouldn't shock me. It would surprise me, but it wouldn't shock me if they decide to just say, we'll trade for Revis because we're trying to turn this team around quickly.
Why couldn't the Cowboys keep DeMarcus Ware?
He had a $16 million cap figure for 2014. Jerry Jones decided that between the cap figure and $12.75 million that he was due to make, it was just too much. Jerry Jones thinks he doesn't get onto the field enough, doesn't find a way to play through injuries, although he's had plenty of them. And a lot of people thought Jones was bluffing when he talked within the past couple of weeks about cutting Ware, but Ware refused to take a pay cut, and boom, he's available.
Well, I'm going to applaud Jerry Jones for not doing something stupid and overpaying. If there's, you still have the Romo deal. I didn't like that, but he likes Tony Romo. But maybe some fiscal sanity is starting to filter into Jerry Jones.
Yeah, but then he followed it up by saying they may bring DeMarcus Ware back after they take the full cap acceleration and rip the Band-Aid off by getting rid of the guy and taking that cap charge. They may try to bring him back, although I don't think he's going to want to go back. He's going to have other options, and it's got to be exciting for a guy who had no idea he was going to be a free agent. All of a sudden, he's in that position where teams are clamoring to get him.
Darren Sproles staying in New Orleans?
No, he's going to be traded. They were going to cut him. And we've heard with so many guys, well, if he doesn't get traded, we're going to cut him. What's that mean? We're going to cut him because we're not going to find anyone to trade for him.
Yeah.
Well, there are multiple teams interested in Darren Sproles, so now the expectation is they are going to find a way to trade him.
To where?
Good question. I don't know at this point. But teams apparently have a higher view of what Darren Sproles has left in the tank.
What about Kansas City?
He's 31.
What about Kansas City? He went to Kansas State.
Well, that would make sense, and I mean, you've got other guys out there who have who have coached him. You've got Norv Turner up in Minnesota, who was with him in San Diego.
Man,
and that
I like
would be a nice
Sproles.
third down back compliment to Adrian Peterson.
I like Sproles. I like him. Michael Vick.
Michael Vick is going to take his time. Michael Vick is waiting for the right spot. I think the risk that Vick takes, any team that needs a quarterback right now could draft a quarterback in round one. So he could end up being the starter for a new team for 2 months. So he wants to be in a position where he's very confident that if he signs with somebody, he really is their guy. He may wait until after the draft. He may wait to see if somebody gets injured. He knows this is his last shot at really making a mark and leaving on a high note, and he wants to make a good decision. He doesn't want to sign with a team and then end up being the backup on a bad team in a bad situation, so he is going to take his time.
And the one thing about him, and I know it's lost in all of this, people have their opinion on Michael Vick, but he's looked at as a leader in the clubhouse. And who would have thought in those days in Atlanta, coming out of prison, but that he was actually a voice in there. Nick Foles, when we weren't on the air at the Super Bowl, he raved about Michael Vick. Stuff he didn't have to say. He just said, look, I couldn't have had this success without him because he helped me. He welcomed me. And so I think that's kind of interesting with whoever gets Vick. Maybe you are getting a guy who will go in and be a leader.
Hey, and if he can't find a starting job where he feels comfortable that he is not just only going to get the job but keep the job, I think there's a lot to be said for going back to Philadelphia and being the backup there and continuing his time in Philly because, look, any given play, one of these quarterbacks can get hurt and he could be thrust right back onto the field.
Jared Allen, not in Denver, so where?
Well, there's been talk about the Bears and the Seahawks, and, the question becomes how much money is he willing to not take? He made $73 million over 6 years, a rare big money contract where every check was cashed. Now, will he take less? I heard the impediment with Denver was he wanted too much, and he's going to have to soften his expectations. And he could go, he could jump on board with the Seahawks for a year, try to win a Super Bowl, and then do it all again in 2015.
Raiders got a whole lot of money here, Mike. Are they actually going to spend it wisely?
Well, they're spending it, and I don't know how wisely they're spending it. They went out and signed a couple of tackles. They have Austin Howard from the Jets. Jets finally find a right tackle, and he's gone. They picked up Roger Saffold from the Rams. They have money to spend, and now you have to spend a certain amount of it under the labor deal. The question is where you're going to find guys, and quarterback is the key. I think they'd love to get Mike Vick. I don't think Mike Vick wants to go out to Oakland. I think his fear is if he goes to Oakland, he's the starter. Then they draft somebody with the 5th overall pick, and he's the backup in Oakland, and he's lost and forgotten in the final years of his career.
These guaranteed contracts, that's why I always laugh when I see somebody signed for $100 million, and then you realize they signed for $55 million. That can the players ever be in a position where they can say, we need our contracts guaranteed, given what we do, for how long we're able to do it?
Well, yeah, but you know what? If that would ever happen, the contracts would have a shorter duration. They'd probably have a lower value. And, this is one of the unintended consequences of free agency. The players for decades wanted real free agency, so now there's a system that gives them free agency, but it also prevents guys who want to stay with the team from staying with the team because the contracts that they sign get to a point where they create too much of a salary cap problem and the guys get dumped when you get to the non-guaranteed portion of the contract. But it's been rare that you've seen a fully guaranteed contract start to finish. But the key is to go shorter term and then get back to the market and go short term. The shorter the contract, the more likely you're going to see every dollar of it.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, see you, buddy.
Mike Florio, NBCSN Pro Football Talk at 5:30 Eastern, Monday through Friday.